Some of you have been on the beta, and as we move forward with it, as any new program, you have a little bit of the kinks in the road and so forth. And I think the biggest kink we had is the lists being supplied to us. And I believe that's been pretty much cleared up where everyone understands the list that we're looking for and what we're trying to do. And as a result of the success with this, the number of our manufacturers have approached us that they have a program where they're looking to supply leads, and they've been given leads to their dealers and nothing happens with them. And we looked at those leads, and they're leads that need to be cultivated. People who got funding, people who are moving, people who are doing certain things. We're in the short strokes of working with them, that Ryan's group is going to nurture those to a point where we'll set the appointment rather than their dealer setting the appointment. So we have a couple of our manufacturers that are taking a look at it. So the premise of continually building appointments for you is consistent. In addition to that, you're going to see where we've tested out of going after new business, all right, which is a whole different story. All right. Instead of going into the base, it's a whole different thing that we've been playing with. And there's certain criteria that we have to have. So the program is expanding. The program is been successful. We're tracking the sales and so forth. But one of the challenges that we have is it's always communication. And the other challenge we have is that who's going out on the appointment and what's the mindset of going out on the appointment. And the reason that we have this today, we've heard a couple times, well, I went out on the appointment and they didn't know why I was there. And we say, okay, let's backtrack that and figure out what that means. And the point of this is that the important thing is these are your existing customers. And I'm trying to get to the point where people are saying, we need to understand the mindset of how you go out to the appointment. And when you get an appointment, the first thing we need to do is you need to pull up their account, need to see what's the history of that account, what are they utilizing of your services, who has the relationship with the account, how long they've been in an account, and you as management, before that appointment, before that salesperson goes out on that appointment, you need to make a decision. What are we there to introduce them to, and what are we there to sell? That's the mindset. But without doing that investigation, is that we've noticed that there have been times where a salesperson will go out, has no idea what the account's all about, has no history on the account, doesn't know how long they've been in an account, doesn't know how many tickets they've had. I mean, they have zero comprehension of what the account. So the first thing is, let's do a little due diligence. And when you look at our sales process, I know what we do is that if I'm going out on an appointment, I look up their website, see their website, even though they're my customer. What's their website? What do they do? I look them up on LinkedIn. Do I have any connections with anybody there at LinkedIn to see if I can have a relationship with them, even though they're my account and I know the person? I also Google them, and because that's another thing that we look at. And when we look at our total sales process on new appointments, that's what we do on a new appointment. Why would we not do that on our own existing customer? And the other thing is that when you look at their website, it gives you a commonality that you're going to be able to talk to them about something. All right. We get there, and I'm going to use just some examples. I got there and they thought I was there to replace the toner. So, we didn't have a very good appointment. That's one way to look at it. Okay. The other way is it's your existing customer. And the most critical aspect, being honest with ourselves, is the first thing we have to do. How many of your guys are going out there and they have not ran a dark web? Is anybody doing that? Yeah. All right. The mindset is that I don't care who you talk to. I don't care what you do. Mauricio over here, anytime they sell a copy machine, they come out with a dark web. I mean, they don't talk to anybody without putting a dark web in front of somebody. All right. You may use it, you may not use it, but you know what? It doesn't hurt you to have the dark web and a scan, right? Because that's going to try to control an environment. If you don't have it, when they say, oh, I thought you were coming out here for a toner, the response should have been, oh, you know what? If you have a toner problem, let me look at that. I'll get that resolved for you. But in the meantime, the reason I came out here is that you've been a real valued customer of ours. All right. And out of courtesy, I ran a dark web scan. Let me explain to you what dark web scan is. A dark web scan is that there are hackers out there that have gotten your employees passwords. Now, it may be a password to their Delta Airlines. It may be a password to their gym membership. It may any kind of a password. Those passwords are put on the dark web, the evil side of the internet, and they're for sale. Now, the real bad guys will go in there and buy those passwords. They have technology and software. They'll run any kind of combination because most of us can't remember passwords. So our passwords are very similar to everything that we use if it's not the same password. Once they have that password of your employee to your network, they'll come in and they'll put what they call a Trojan horse into your network. And if you don't have sophistication to look for Trojan horses, they'll let that sit there for a month to 2 months. And then all of a sudden, they're going to send you a letter and say, oh, by the way, we have your data. All right, send the Bitcoins to this address or we will shut you down. Now, I don't have to talk to you about what happened with Kaseya. I don't have to talk to you what the president of the United States is talking about. I don't need to talk to you about the situation for hacking. This is why we've upped our game with all our customers, and we're trying to run to see if they have any liability sitting out there and how many of their employees have been compromised. Now, this is your dark web. This is what it looks like. Let me ask you a question. Has your existing IT company notified you of this? And they'll go, no, I'm not aware of it. Okay, that's sort of interesting. Let me ask you another question. If they haven't notified you of this, have they, from a best practice standpoint, have they given you your passwords to your domain server? Do you have those passwords? Geez, no, we don't. All right, so that's like interesting because best practice says you need to have those. If you were to be audited, your bank or your accounting department, if you had that audit, I believe it's the third question on the auditing. Do you have your passwords to your domain server? And if you don't have it, that's really not good practice. So I look at it, strike one, they haven't told you. Strike two, you don't have passwords. Here's my suggestion to you, Mr. Customer, is let your existing IT company, let them know that you're contemplating running an audit. And you know that best practice says is that if I run this, I know they're going to be asking for my passwords and they tell me that's best practice. So I'd like to put those under lock and key. I want you to send them to me in an encrypted manner so I have them. And 80% of the time that will eliminate the risk that we have in this process. Oh, let me go to my IT company and let them know that I've been, have compromises. We don't want that to occur. Our whole sales process is leveraging the relationship with the company that we have because we're serving them. The second process is to alienate them and create a chasm between their existing IT company and themselves. We're going to show them that their existing IT company is not doing what they're paying for. We're going to show them that when we run the analyzer, they got a 95% risk factor. And you know what? We're going to destroy the credibility of what they're doing and not doing and so forth. We have to sit there and simply ask them, let's go ahead and let them know that. And I like to come out with my engineering staff. Let's run that audit. It takes about 20 minutes, 30 minutes max. And let's find out if there's any damage. Hopefully there isn't any damage, but at least let's find out. Let's run that analyzer. Can we get together Wednesday at 1:30 or next week, Thursday at 10:30 be better for you? Ask for the order. The first appointment, the only thing we're trying to accomplish is what? Get an analyzer on the network. We accomplished that. We have it. We did it. Now, that's a little better than, oh, they want a toner. I didn't have an opportunity. And I asked them the question. Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? And it was no, because they were looking for a toner. The skill of the salesperson and what we pay salespeople for is to understand I have an opportunity to talk to someone that's willing to talk to me. All right. And oh, by the way, before I went out here, I got to know the account. I talked to the manager of my company I work for and say, what's the best thing to sell these people? Because it's an old phone equipment that you want to get rid of. All right. It may just be cybersecurity. It may be IT management, but you know what? Go in there with a focus of, you know what? You have zero opportunity unless you run an analyzer, because nothing else matters. Everything other than running an analyzer is just blah, blah, blah. No matter what you're hit with, no matter what they say, we got to come back around on them. I want to open this up and get some comments, get some practical what you're doing. I'd like to hear some of the things that you run up against, and we'll show you how to sort of get around that. Don, you're pretty straightforward and everything else. I mean, what are some of the things that you're running up against? And you're on mute. Okay, thank you.
I'm not out in the field as much. One of the things, though, that we do run up against is the mentality of people not understanding the benefit of the true managed service provider. One of the things that they're looking at or that they're getting is they want let me just invest a little bit of money and then we will end up pay as we go. Well, that's not a model that we support, and we won't take them as a customer.
Yeah. And here again, that's you'll run up against that, but that's why if you can get the analyzer on the network, we'll destroy that concept. All right, because our sales process, and Ryan and I are doing a live sales training in Chicago, I think. We're going to go back through the sales process, put it together, but the sales process that we have takes care of those kinds of things. Here's the number one issue our sales process takes care of. And if the process is used, you will not get this excuse. You're more money than what I'm paying. I mean, do any of you get that? Oh, you cost more? Anybody getting that?
We do.
Okay. With the sales process, that won't happen. And that's handling objections before they occur. And we know we're going to be more money. So what we do is we know that I have that objection. So let's get rid of it. In our sales process, we show that. What I want to do is saying, hey, we have this opportunity. You get to go talk to a customer. If you can't get an analyzer on that network, shame on you. All right. Something's wrong. Something up here is not clicking. You don't get or understand the process, and you don't understand the only reason you're going out there to talk to them is not, oh, I want to know how your service is. Are we okay? I'm here on a call. No, you're there to get an analyzer on the network. That's why we set the appointment. Or unless you're going out there because you got old phones and you're going to update it, you're going to convert them to on-prem, to hosted, or some, you've just decided what you're going to go out to. What other excuses are you guys hearing of why you can't get an analyzer on the network? Anybody? Scott, I'm going to call on you. You've been around for a while,
Dale, can I hit you with a question?
Please.
Just like Don had pointed out, I just had one that I went on, and we got to do an analysis of the network, and we're one of 3 or 4 IT companies that they're looking at, and they're going to leave the current company. We're also trying to they happen to have Axalta, so we're able to look at that too. But I'm faced with that same scenario right now where they're saying, I don't know about managed services. One of the companies has offered us this kind of hybrid of it, and it's tied in with a block of time, and so I'm struggling right now, and I've had this a couple other times to really sell the value of managed services over some kind of hybrid of it.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you'll get hybrid, but you don't want hours. Here's how I handle that. I'll say, hey, Scott, I understand there's a lot of companies taking a look at it, but let me give you a little bit of a better understanding of my company. My company, we've been in the area for 25 years. We have a large clientele. We're very well respected in the community. We support our community. However, we're also part of a national organization called TAG, Technology Assurance Group. This organization's been around for 22 years. As a group, we do $700 million a year in IT, telephony, cybersecurity, hard security. We're in 138 cities across the United States and Canada, and we're servicing about 680,000 small businesses like your company. Now, what does that do for you? It allows us and you to have access to a technology brain bank. There isn't any technology we're not looking at, evaluating, deploying, rejecting, putting on the shelf, analyzing whatever technology is out there. So we have a tremendous amount of resources for you to have the right technology. And oh, by the way, this group has come to the conclusion that the biggest challenges they have with taking over accounts are the people who have chuck in a truck, all right, that they're break fix, where they do something, but if you have a problem, you come in and you know what, and if you have that kind of thing, when we run our analyzer, those companies are usually in the 97th percentile of a risk factor. That model no longer works. And what happens is I equate technology to like the heart in the human being. You have a heart, and the reason you need to have that, the human being has that heart, is that heart pumps to every asset of your entire body. Without the heart, you don't have anything. All right. It's the most important thing in your body. Well, guess what? The technology is like the heart of your company. It touches everything. Now, you can have that heart, and you know what? You can have a heart that says, oh, you got leaky valves in the heart. But you know what? It's less expensive, but you got leaky valves. Now, do you want your technology to have leaky valves in your company? Because here's the important thing, Scott. Not only are we going to protect your employees, we're going to protect your company, but you know what? More importantly, we're going to protect your customers. Now, why do we say that? Because back of our minds as business owners, every day, well, I got to take care of my customer. I got to take care of my customer. All right. They care more about the customer than they care about their employees in many cases. All right. All of a sudden, you built this mental picture of, wait a second. Yeah, you're right. I can have less expense, but I got a heart with leaking valves. And I simply tell them, I can do any price that you want as long as you're aware of how much those valves are going to leak. And then, you make that decision. And you know what? That break fix crap goes away. All right. And especially if you get the analyzer on the network, and especially when you come in with 95% risk factor, and especially when you go through the sales process. All right. With that scenario, and now we're building pictorial. Here's what we know about psycho-cybernetics. If we can see it in our head, it's going to happen. Well, guess what? We're going to put pictures in their head. And the picture that we put in is that, well, tell me what do you want to pay? Because the amount you pay is going to determine how much leakage of the valves you want in your heart. Is that how you want to run your business? Let's do it right. And this goes back to the fight we always have, is that when we first started this, we go, well, you can do it this way, you can do it this way, you can do it this way. This is a really good way to do it, but here's a less expensive, and here's a less expensive. And the IT companies that did that had no intelligence whatsoever. We are the experts. We're not asking you what you want. We're going to tell you what you need. And Scott, here's what I do. I've been in this business for a long time, and I understand the technology, and I understand business. I've approached your solution as if this was my business with the knowledge that I have. All right. And I'm giving you the best bang for the dollar. And one of the reasons I belong to the TAG National is that we have cooperative purchasing. We're extremely competitive in the marketplace. Not only do we know every technology that's out there, all right, and we're continually on the curve going forward. And oh, by the way, these companies are doing what we call break fix. They're chucking a truck. They don't have the staff, or they don't have the mentality to do what needs to be done, and they're going to put a leaking heart into your organization. Do you want to go down that path? Does that make sense to you? Did I handle that objection, Scott?
You did. I'm scared to say no, so I'd sign the contract.
Well, I mean,
we do. I think I'm just making some notes through the points that you just made, and I need to do a better job of like bringing up the TAG Advantage, all those things that we get through that organization. The fact that we're on top of cutting edge technology and being able to bring it, the fact that we're proactive in our approach to it. And I really need to clearly define that in my response to them.
Yeah, and if I still get pushback here's my next level I go to. Well, let me ask you a question. This hybrid, do they have any knowledge whatsoever of Azure? And I guarantee you, Scott, they don't. And you know what? And then now I get to go into the Azure. You know what? Why do we have servers in a closet? Let me eliminate every project work you're going to have. All right. Microsoft is taking everything, and as an organization, we're in the process of taking 650,000 customers up to Azure because that's the proper way to do it. That's the evolution of technology. As a group, there's nobody in this country as a group has more Azure experience than the TAG organization. All right, TAG has, we have an Azure solution certified person on staff for you. We have Trevor, who just came on, who's also Azure. You look at the amount of Azure that we're doing, and here again, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, whenever we were in Florida, I don't know who was there, but we made the comment, hey guys, you need to understand Azure. The 9,000 pound gorilla is going to win this space. We got to figure out how to make money with it. And we said, if you don't go to Azure, at least buy the stock. Stock was $139 yesterday, or today it hit $272. They won the space. And you know what? They're not talking to you about Azure because they don't have the faintest idea what that technology is. And what we're going to do, we're going to give you the latest state of technology. We're going to eliminate you ever buying hardware again. We're going to contain your costs, and we're going to give you flexibility because this is a new world. 30 or 40% of your employees aren't coming back to the office. And if they do come back to the office, guess what? They're going to come back part-time, then go back in. So the Azure environment is absolutely great. And oh, by the way, our organization has programs to show you how to truly manage a remote workforce. So we're not just giving you technology, but how you use it. This is the kind of company you want to deal with. You know what? Everyone else that I looked at here, I've been in this community a long time. Show me their quotes. I don't care about the price, Scott. It doesn't matter. Show me their quotes, and I'll put bullet holes in everything that they come in with here. And you know what? I'm coming in, and I know I'm competitive in my pricing. I'll come in and do it the right way to do it. Your customers, your employees, and your company deserve this, don't they? Anything else you're hearing out there? It's pretty easy, guys. I mean, this isn't rocket science. I mean, you got to have passion. You can't go in there, well, let's cut the price here. I walk in and say, you know what? I'm going to do it right. And if you don't want to do it right, you're not our customer. Let's do it right. And especially in today's environment, you got to do it right. I don't want to sell you a technology that has leaking valves in it. And you know what? You don't want that either. I was hoping to hear clapping and applaud, but that's okay.
Great job, Dale. Thank you. I'm very motivated now.
Okay, well, I have fun doing this. I love this. I breathe this. I sleep this. I mean, I had a call this morning, and it's the call was last week. It's, geez, we're not selling the IT. We don't know why. We have the appointments, and I said, okay, let me sit down. And this morning, I sit down with the sales manager, and I said, well, show me your process. He says, well, we use the TAG process. And there wasn't one thing in this process that was TAG related. I looked at where did you get that at? And we hear that all the time. Well, I'm using the TAG process, but when we peel back the onion, we're not using the process. I mean, and here again, we're really good here. We have a close ratio about 85% if you use the sales process. And I know this meeting's not about the sales process. This is like I got to go into someone's company. All right. I'm fully prepared. I know what they do. I know what our relation is that I've had with the customer. I know what I want to sell them. And guess what? If it's sell new phones, I have scripting for that. If it's IT, I have scripting for that. And you know what? I'm not going to walk out of there and not get an analyzer on the network.
Well, the sales process, I would say, speaking for us, with the whole COVID thing and the change maybe hosted and moving into IT, I think we've lost focus of that specific sales process that we learned with TAG Invoice for all those years, and it was just part of our DNA. I think we've lost that, so we've got to get back to that where we're razor sharp on our approach.
Send your guys to Chicago. Send your guys to Chicago, because I agree with you, Scott. We need to get in, and that meeting will be very intense. That'll be an intense meeting. They'll walk out of there, and if they don't know how to do it after that, they're brain dead.
Yep.
So have you changed? So has it? Let's say I went to it like 2 or 3 years ago. Have you updated it or?
Yeah, it's updated. I mean, here again, this one's going to say, you know what? I don't care what you're selling. Here's how you find the opportunity. Here's how you get an analyzer in the network. Here's how you sell a phone system. Here's how you sell closed circuit TV. Here's how you sell cybersecurity. Here's how you sell IT. We're showing you the variations of where to go and how to find the opportunity. And, we're going to go back to, because here's the other thing, guys, that we may have lost, is that in the old days, we spent 2 hours developing the U side of the transaction, and the U side of the transaction doesn't seem to be out there anymore. Is that the definition of success is these salespeople need to hold themselves accountable to themselves first and foremost, and they need to be responsible to themselves. All right. The sales process is them against another human being. Are they a 20 or an 80? Most of our competitions are 80s. If you're a 20 and you have these attributes of a successful person, and you have attributes of having a successful life, you will outsell the 80 who's not a bad person. It's just that they're clueless. So we've gone back to some real basics there, Tamara, because you know what? The real value that TAG has is that we're consistent in our message, and we're human beings, and we have to hear that message over and over and over and over again. Because, a lot of stuff you may have heard, but you go, oh, you know what? I'm not doing that anymore. So you gather, you get remotivated, you get refocused, and you go, yeah, what? I mean, here, no different than what happened here today. Most of you have heard this before, but you know what happens? We let it slip. We don't have the salespeople may not have that passion. They may not have that sense of urgency. They may not have conviction of, I'm going to sell it right. We have a lot of different people now supporting you. We all say it, but we may say it a little differently. But you know what? The end result's still the same. I don't know of any objection on the face of the earth that we haven't heard and we have an answer for it. I don't care what it is. Throw out anything else that you're any objection you're getting. I'll show you how you get around to it and make it sense. And I know this is not for just this meeting is to say, hey, I have an opportunity. How do I, if you have an opportunity and you're not walking out what you set out to go to, let's talk about it, because you did something wrong. And you know what? We're human. We jack it up sometimes. That's why we always say it's 85%, because 15% of the time, no matter how good you are, a rough day or you're not on, whatever the case may be. But you know what? There's no reason not to have it and motivate the customer to understand what we're trying to do. I mean, I particularly enjoy the analogy of, it's like the heart in a human being. Without it, you're dead. Well, that's what your technology is the heart of your company. Now, do you want leaky valves on it or not? Because, I can give you really leaky valves and put any price that you want. Price has nothing to do with this decision, Scott. Nothing. It's what's the right thing to do. How am I protecting you? And am I the right company to be servicing you? And you know what? I am, because you know what? I give you the best of both worlds. I give you a national footprint with local presence. It doesn't get any better than that.
You're hired.
Well, here, like I say, I mean, I just do this every day of my life. So, I just try to find the most effective way of getting someone to do what I want them to do. And that's to protect themselves and put the right system in. I had fun. I hope everybody else did. Did I, Ryan, I'm going to go to you. Did we accomplish what we wanted to accomplish here today, or do we need to go another direction?
Yeah, no, a couple thoughts. One is I want to get some feedback real quick and see, if there was two things. One, was this valuable time spent for you guys? And two, is any questions, or would you like to see another training? The goal here was to talk about, really, as the title said, is how do we create an opportunity on the first appointment, whether it's tag call program related or otherwise, right? Because we have a lot of first appointments, and that first one sets the stage for the second appointment, the sales process. So Dale and I were just talking about this would be a valuable meeting to start a conversation, and it could develop into a series. Want to talk about options here with you guys. Want to get some feedback. Was this time valuable? Is there anything else you'd like to see around this topic?
I think it was extremely valuable.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, you can't visit the basics often enough. I mean, we just need to be reminded.
Yeah, and the one thing we need to be reminded of, and I do this every day, everybody that you're a friend of, everybody who owns a business, every time, no matter who you talk to, don't talk to them unless you have a dark web scan ran. We all should be running 4 or 5 dark web scans a day. All right. Whoever you're talking to, whatever you're going to, whatever you're seeing. And, when we look at working with your chamber, run everybody's dark web scan. It's the most important thing that you can possibly be doing. And, you may use it, you may not use it, but at least you have it.
Yeah, I'd like to say one thing. Not every customer or client has a network, or you have the ability to actually run a scan. And in those cases, because I know who I'm going to go see, I approach that first, the tag call program. I always approached the opportunity when I didn't have the opportunity to go in and try and do a network analysis of, I'm not here to sell you anything. I am here to educate you on what's out there, where things are going, what is changing, and stuff like that. And it made me a lot more comfortable going in and having that conversation, not thinking that, oh God, I have to sell something. I got to find something to sell. But with that being said, I knew exactly who I was talking to. I knew their background. I know when they started their business. I know what their parents did. I know what their brothers were. I knew what they were passionate about, because I did all those things that you talked about. I Googled them. I checked them out. And the greatest appointment I had was somebody that Ryan set the appointment with. They said, I'm not buying anything from you. And that's exactly what I said. That's great, because I'm just here to educate you on what we know, what I believe, what I have passion about. And here it is. And I walked out of there. We got a new phone system in there. We're probably going to end up putting cameras at one point in time. We got dial tone. So it's, it takes the pressure off of having to go find something to sell.
Yeah.
For me anyway.
And here's what being in sales training most of my life, here's what I find, Gary, is that I teach out here, right? Because the salespeople are out here, and no one has the chutzpah to go all the way, right? But if we can get them from here to here, guess what? They'll sell more deals, right? So everyone has to come a little bit more this way, understand what they're doing, how they're doing. And you know what? Everyone has to put their own personality into it. Everyone has to, do it. But you know what? If you're closing deals, and I know you guys closed a fair amount of deals. I mean, I've sort of seen some of the numbers of what you sold, and you know what? When I look at the numbers that were sold, that was a very, very, it's a very profitable, productive program for you guys. So you're doing something right. Right?
Yeah. I got a quick question. So if we go in and it's initially going to be a phone situation, but you see network problems, or you see old cameras, and you see all that, we blew some deals where we overwhelmed the customer with all at once. So I told myself, hey, we're just going to just go after what's first and take care of that. You can't go after it all.
Yeah, we teach that since day one, saying, "Hey guys, don't go in a phone system and a MTSP at the same time." That's why I said you as a company need to focus on, okay, what's the low-lying fruit? What's the highest probability of success of the product and service we have with this particular customer? Go in there knowing what you want to sell them before you go out. So absolutely correct.
And then set up that scan for a later date, something like that.
Pick the low-lying fruit, have them do some business with you.
Okay.
One thing I'll mention too on the camera side is on both of these occasions, I'm actually going down tomorrow, hopefully getting a contract signed with Sport Car Shop with their cameras, but they didn't have cameras. When I was out there talking to them, I was looking around and I said, Bob, how many millions of dollars of cars? I mean, this guy's got antique cars galore in his showroom. I says, what's this worth? It's probably about 1.8 million in here. And I look around and it's like, well, where's your security cameras and stuff like that in here for something like that? We don't have any. I said, well, you really ought to talk to me about that, because I'm pretty sure your insurance coverage on this is probably up there. I mean, he says, yeah, you're right. And he actually called me back a couple of weeks ago saying, I can lower my insurance if I get cameras in here.
Yep. So
keep that in mind.
So that's finding the opportunity, walking into a place and looking around. I mean, you got to look around what's there. So, all right, guys, we good?
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, let's do this again.
Okay. All right.
See you in Chicago.
Thank you.
And here again, Ryan is extremely accessible. I'm extremely accessible. TAG is here to do what? Help you be successful. And whatever you need, just please ask. I mean, we'll find a way of getting it to you. Okay.
Well worth the time, guys.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Sure, y'all.